Ciao, mara wafaile chi returns? Ndirenda uririkane kufaile niguo tikagie penalty. Uguo faile umuthi.
Fail returns, by the way.
Magansho like file and returns.
Atrere.
Which is monthly rental income. And then I now take the opportunity to welcome the trainer of the day. She goes by the name Irene Dolo. Irene, karibu sana. She'll be taking us through the theory part of the monthly rental income obligation, as well as the return filing aspect, which is very important to ensure that by the 20th of this month, you have filed and paid, and you're in good books with the authority. So without much ado, please let us give a round of applause to Irene to encourage her to step forward and give her very best. Karibu sana Irene. Thank you. Karibu taxpayers. Karibu.
So this rental income, we have obviously laws which govern us on how to declare the monthly rental income. As you can see, it's under the Finance Act 2015, 16, 19. And then, so the introduction, and my colleague will finish up with the integrity. So what is rental income? As you've said, rental income is all about money you get from your property. Means payment you received from another person for use or occupation from property based on whatever you guys have agreed. So this one we are charged according to section 3. Profit from business, whatever period or employment services rendered, a right granted to another person for use of property. So kama uko na nyumba, you get tenants, you hire, every single month they pay you money. You, according to the law, you're required to definitely declare that. So rental income, there is monthly rental income and there is the annual regime. Annual regime basically per month. You multiply by 12. This is under the annual regime. You'll get the 1.2. Property B, you have 10 units. You multiply by maybe each unit you're costing 15,000. You multiply that, you'll get the 1.8. The total income you'll get for that year, it's going to be 3 million. But according to 3 million, definitely there are expenses which you incur. Is it land rates every year, insurance, agent fee, the person who's helping you to collect the money, repairs? Definitely in Kenya, you can't get property without loan. At least that's what they say. So that's where you get also loan interest and electricity. All these are your expenses. And then once you get the expenses, you're going to less out of the 3 million that you've gotten from the whole year. So 6. And then definitely based on the graduated scale, you're going to get anything above that, it's going to be 30%. So you're going to do that. So the next one is income from rental estate business developers. These are people who usually applies to person who are in business for developing properties for sale. I think this is more often. Everybody is like building property and then they sell that. So this tax is charged on the net profit after deducting allowable expenses under Section 15 of the income tax. Anything we do it according to the law. The profit is not considered as capital gain, hence cannot attract capital gains tax. And then construction in real estate takes more than 1 financial year. The cost during construction should be deferred. If you're a constructor or if you're a business developer, kazi yako ile ya kutengeneza, you always have to have your books up to date. And then now that's when you're going to incur all the expenses you incurred. So the next one is the monthly rental income, of which it's most common. This is charged according to Section 6A of the income tax. It's introduced by Finance Act 2015. It was effective 1st January 2016. So basically, who qualifies for monthly rental income? Any resident, either individual or company. As long as you have property and you have tenants, definitely you qualify for this. The tax applies to rental income and for use or occupation of residential property. Landlords earning residential income from 288,000 per month, but does not exceed 15 million. It's definitely under this category of every single month you have to declare your rental taxes. So M.R.I tax rate, that is monthly rental income tax, it's charged at a flat rate of 10% of gross rent received per month. According to monthly rental income, expenses are not allowed. So if you have electricity, if you have loan, you cannot accrue from the monthly rental income. So landlords are required to fill their monthly returns via online iTax. Everything right now in KRA we're doing online. So the due date it's on or before 20th. Following month after collection, and this is the final tax. So an example of monthly rental income, the same example, property A, 5 units and each month you charge 20,000. So yote itakuwa ngapi? 100,000. Property B, 10 units and each unit you charge 15,000. So the monthly rental income which you'll get is 150. So total is 250. Alafu the rate is 10%. So it's going to be 10% times the 250. So the rent which you're going to declare is going to be 25,000. And as I've indicated, expenses are not allowed. So maneno ya caretaker, you cannot allow in this regime of monthly rental. So there's now the withholding tax on rent income. This is usually imposed under Section 35. And then it's introduced by the Finance Act. As I've said, everything is always within the law. And this is applied on both residential and commercial property. Whether ni maduka ama ni nyumba za kuishi, this one also applies. Withheld by appointed agents at 10% on gross rent. Usually the withholding tax is usually the withholding agents who are usually appointed. Only rent received by residents can be withheld. Also, this is accounted for by the 20th of the month. And then this is example number 2 is annual rental income filing. If you're an agent, for example, property A, you're a withholding agent, 5 units at 20,000. This is going to be 100. Property B, Ukona 10 units, also this is at 15,000. So total is going to be 15 multiplied by 10, that's 150. And then the total is going to be 250. The tax payable, it's also 15% of that, which is 25,000. And then you also less the withholding. So that is 10% of that becomes 10,000. And then the net tax payable is going to be 15,000. Also under this, there is no issue about expenses being allowable. It's not allowed, caretakers and that. So the exemptions, the monthly rental exemptions and benefits. The simplified tax does not apply to non-residents. Landlords earning more than 15 million per month, these ones, they go to the annual regime. Taxpayers who wish to remain in the annual regime on rental income may elect to do so by writing to the commissioners. So the benefit is no production of records on expenses, definitely. Anything you excuse or you allow, definitely you have to have your records. The other thing is a reduced compliance cost on the taxpayers, because it's a monthly thing. And then the reduced tax burden to the taxpayers, which is usually a 10% flat rate. Definitely there are penalties. Late filing, penalty of 2,000 per month or 5% of the tax dues for individuals. For company, it's penalty of 20,000 per month or 5% of the tax due for corporates. The late or non-payment for taxes, the penalty is at 5% of the tax payable and interest of 1% per month. So I believe that's done. Mandy, from my end. Unless kuna swali, ama mtajitayarisha alafu muulize.
Good. Thank you very much, Irene. Yeah. I've always wanted to tell you have a very commanding voice. What you say has authority on behalf of KRA. So at this point, just like M.R.I, everything is simplified, brief, and simple, essentially. So we open the floor for questions. Kama kuna swali, an area of clarification, all things rental income and property taxes. Yes, sir. Maybe you can introduce yourself.
Sorry, my name's John. My question is on the withholding tax, withholding agent part. That was quite fast, so I didn't understand how that worked.
Asante sana, John. Perhaps we can take one more question and then you can tackle them all together. Anyone with a clarification? Good. Yes, sir. Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Francis. I wanted to know, in case of a deceased person, and maybe he has left the property, what about who is supposed to file the property, in case maybe the children are the ones who have been left the property, or maybe the deceased person wrote a will, the person to manage that property, who is supposed now to file that property? Because of course the deceased person, the PIN will not be working. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's always good to engage and interact. Maybe you can tackle those, Irene, for now. And also, Irene, perhaps in our second round of questions, we'll take a few more. But perhaps you can also just guide on where the tax service offices in Nairobi are based. All our taxpayers today are Nairobi region taxpayers. So perhaps if not coming directly to you in north of Nairobi, where else can our taxpayers receive further assistance? I'll hand over back to you to tackle those few questions, and then we'll take some more. Asante.
Okay. As a typical Kenyan or person, we'll start with the easy ones first. And the easy one is the tax offices in Nairobi. So there's the first one, which is north of Nairobi, which is now in Times Towers. And then there's the second one, which is CBC, I believe, in Upper Hill, next to TSC, Radisson Blue. The third one is also in Mombasa Road. Mombasa Road, that is in the section of south of Nairobi and east of Nairobi. And then the other one, it's in Westlands, but Westlands don't deal with rental. But those are the basic major stations in Nairobi. So there's this one for CBD, which is Times Towers. This is for the north of Nairobi. There's one in Upper Hill, that is west of Nairobi, next to TSC or Radisson Blue. And then there's the other one in Mombasa Road.
That is east of Nairobi and south of Nairobi. There's also another one in Westlands, but that is large taxpayers office. So that is number one. Number two, we start down up. Francis, about deceased. As you've said, or as I've said earlier, we are always governed. Is it complete? Who's taking over? Because one thing I can tell you, the pin of the deceased will not be closed until there is total succession. Total handover of like the property. If the property was under the person's pin, whose pin will the property be transferred to? Is it the mother? Is it the children? What does the law say? What has the succession said? So as for KRA, we never go by what the siblings say, like my dad has passed and the property is on me. No, what has the law said? Have you gone to high court? Have you gotten the succession? Have you done all the handovers? So based on the law that we will get from high court or legal documents, that's when the property will be transferred from the deceased pin to the dependents or the beneficiaries. Upon successful transfer, that's when the pin for the deceased will be closed. And then now from there, the property will be, now the person who has been handed over the property, they have the right to now declare the same. I hope that's correct. Now the other one was about the withholding agent. For you, first you have to be appointed as a withholding agent by KRA and then we notify you. So as a withholding agent, let me see whether I have that, the slides, Mandy. The withholding agent, whereby we are going to, whoopsie. Is it this? And it's lost. Oh, I think it's there. Okay. For a withholding agent, you have to be appointed. So once you're appointed by, like the authority, you're like our agents to do what? To collect taxes on our behalf. Yes, so this is usually the rate. Once you're appointed, you'll definitely have an account manager who will be now on your case and to guide you. This is the amount we're expecting based on your returns that we have analyzed. We expect this and the following this, which is usually, the calculation was withheld, it's usually 10% on the gross rent. For example, now which other example can I give? Let's check, I think it's usually easy to understand based on Pardon? Between?
John, let me ask you to use the mic.
This is just an in-between person between the government and the rental collector. Yes? So for most people, this is not applicable.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it's fine.
Okay, fine. But in case of anything else or further clarification, feel free to visit. We do very good with examples. Yes, any other question? I think Madam, you had a question?
We did have two more questions and then that one. Good morning.
Okay.
Morning, my name is Elizabeth. I wanted to ask about a situation where I convert a rental property now to personal use. Do I deregister the property or do I just write a letter to say I'm now using the property and no longer renting it out?
Okay. So this is conversion of rental property to residential now, your own. Okay.
Thank you very much. Irene, may I take one more?
Yes, please.
All right.
I think there are even two more. There's another guy here.
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Brian Acheng. In my situation here, I got an invitation for this seminar, but I don't have any rentals. And I believe in your system, it's saying that I am a rental owner. How do I go? And I've visited room 1. The requirements that have been given, I don't know how I will go about them. You can assist.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ocheng. Final question, Irene?
Yes,
with
please.
your permission.
Yes. We don't want to lock anyone out.
Thanks so much. My name is Dixon.
Yes, Gibson.
Okay. I understand the rate for rental income is 10%. I wanted to ask one question. What if my properties has 20 units and maybe I have collected for only 15 units and maybe 5 units, they have not given me the money. And you as a KRI, you know my property has 20 units. what will happen if I declare for 15 units? Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Dixon. It's always a privilege
Anyone?
to engage.
Hakuna
Anyone
mtu yote
else?
tumefunga?
No one to be locked
Yes,
out.
Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Actually, it's a bit like what about in a situation in the month where you don't have tenants? Because sometimes you stay without tenants, but you have to keep on.
Thank you very much. Those are all very relevant scenarios. The last question we'll take for this round.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Venancio Karanja Mongi.
Karanja?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to pose a question, more likely like the one that was asked by a gentleman there. Perhaps someone has been given a property by the parent, but that parent is not deceased.
Is now deceased.
It's not.
Oh, is not. Underline the word not.
Yes. And you are supposed now to give the returns and all that. Now, what happens on your end because the property it has not yet been transferred to the third party? What happens in that scenario because now you are not anywhere in the system because property is not under your name? What would happen in that scenario? Yes.
Okay.
Asante sana. So for that round, Irene, maybe you can tackle those and shed light. Thank you.
I think I always like to start at the bottom. Okay? For the last shall become first and the first shall become last. So we'll start with Mr. Karanja. So as Kiara has said, we go with whatever the law states. It's not what he said, what she said, but the property is registered under who? For example, we get Kenya Power, but the Kenya Power is registered under your PIN or your mom's PIN. We'll go with that. So if the property is registered under your parent, what does that mean? It's the PIN of your parent that needs to be declaring those rental income. If it's maybe you're the one who registered that, or the property is registered under you, but in actual sense, the property is your mom's or parent, what does that mean? The property goes with your PIN. So what does the law say? How is the property registered? So it's not what people say, but it's under regulation. So we are always governed by the law. Kenya Power, talk about land rates, your property or shamba imeregistiwa nani. So that person's PIN needs to be declaring that. That's okay? So it's always advisable, najua tu kama nyinyi landlord, always ensure your books your records are up to date. So if it's land or it's your parents' PIN and they're not yet migrated to iTax, what do you need to do? Migrate it. It makes life very simple. So that as long as it's already simple, God forbid, but everyone is going to die, and then they die, that makes succession work to be very easy because all your records were up to date. That's okay? So that one I will mark as ticked for now, part A. Part B ataongeza hapo. Wacha tuende kwa Gibson. Sasa Gibson, unasema uko na 20 units, correct? And 15 of them are the ones which are occupied. With iTax right now, we do self-declaration. We allow you to declare. You say, in this month of right now, let's say May, I had 20, okay, usually, let's first say you have 20 units. So in the month of May, I had only 15 units zile zilikuwa occupied. So within those 15 units, maybe I was charging 5,000. You will declare that in the system, you yourself. We allow that. It's called self-declaration. But upon doing that, I, like Irene Dolo, who works now in the technical team, I'm an account manager of a certain PIN. I usually analyze. Sasa hiyo ndio kazi yangu ya kuanalyze. Nitaangalia huyo Gibson in the month of January alilipa 100,000. In the month of June mbona analipa 50,000. You get. So that's the time I call you and ask you, by the way, how come you're doing this? How come January ulilipa 100,000 na sasa unalipa 20,000? But now declaration kwa system inakubali. Unasema nilikuwa na 15 units na hivyo na system itakubali. So for that one for Gibson we are done. So Brian, unasema una rentals. The question is, how did you get it? But that has already happened. So now the burden of proof is onto you, ya kwamba una rentals. How do you prove that you don't have rentals? Number one, you go to Kenya Power. At least once Kenya Power kituambia yenyewe, this PIN is only registered to 1 meter, at least you have enough proof that yenyewe we can remove the rentals. Even bank documents. At least we have to prove, because this is ushuru. This is the money that the government is expecting. So it's not that easy to remove compared to you joining. So as long as you get all the requirements, you apply online, definitely we are going to help you. As I've said, we are following nothing but the law. That's correct. That's done. Now, Elizabeth, you've said rental conversion. The thing is, you have to apply online. So there's a place for opt-out as landlord. Exactly. So it's like, I'm no longer a landlord. But again, as you have said, we go with the burden of proof that indeed it's me who's staying there. Maybe before you had a tenancy agreement, now you don't have. It's in a similar situation whereby it's like I sell the house. So how do I know that now I'm no longer a landlord, but I've sold the house? What document do I show? You definitely have a sale agreement to saying that this is the PIN I had, and now the following is I've given to someone else. But all this you also declare in iTax system. The system definitely allows that. And then there's definitely a section whereby you have to upload the supporting document. So you just do a cover letter, and then you also attach documents to show that I'm now the one who's staying in that house and I'm not receiving any rent. And then the same as no tenants. I think I've answered the same. It's just like before I had 20 units occupied. Now I have 15 units. Right now I don't have any tenants. According to iTax, it's a self-declaration platform. We are relying on the information you give us. Upon you giving us that information, definitely us as a tax account manager will definitely verify the information you're telling me. That indeed in January we were receiving like 10,000 as monthly rental income. Now it's 5,000 for this month, and maybe next month is 0. Why? As long as you can explain that why accurately, and you have records to show that, I believe KRA will not hound you down. But the beautiful thing is declare nothing but the truth, because we are like everywhere. You see, we have us in the office, and then we also have tax officers who walk around, who verify whatever you have declared in the system is whatever is on the ground. Correct? Yes. I don't think there's anything else apart from Mr. Kamau. I believe you had a query. Oh, sorry, Mr. Karanja. I'm already baptizing you. Sorry for that. Yes, Mr. Karanja. Uh-huh. Okay. Oh, maybe I didn't understand. Kindly clarify. Okay. The parent is not dead. I remember that part. The parent is there. Okay. You've been given property. Yes. So the property is under who currently as we speak? Under your parent. Correct? Okay, the property is under the parent.
Now, is there any mechanism we can do so that I don't know if there's any document you people can show, because already, like in my case,
yes,
that is what has happened.
Okay.
Is there a document I can get, because I have applied now? This is my second month I'm applying.
Okay.
I'm applying or paying. And now this in this scenario, it has not been transferred
yes.
into my name.
Yes.
And because I wanted to be responsible, I took over and said, let me start doing this for myself, because it's a reference. But as it is, the property has not been transferred.
Yes.
Is there any way you people can assist so that the document can show that the property is on my side, or I have to go to lands, or how does it go from your end?
We do not want to get involved in between the two. You know, Anasemanga, you never get involved between husband and wife. Yes. So as we wouldn't want to get involved between you and the lands. And that's why I'm insisting. The property right now is registered under your parent, yes. Correct? Yes. Does your parent have a PIN?
Yes.
Yes. So as far as KRA is concerned, it's your parent who needs to declare. So until it's successfully, underline the word successfully, transferred to you, that's when you get it. Now you start filing under your PIN. As I've said, everything we are governed by the law. So outside there, we do not know the succession problems or between you. Maybe you have your siblings who are fighting. We don't want even to take over somebody's work. That's where the Ministry of Land comes in. Or even the law or the High Court, you get. So once we get like documents of succession or Ministry of Land tells us, by the way, this property belongs to XYZ, now that is what we're going to work with. But not you as a Mr. Karanja who comes and say, by the way, this property, I'm the one who's taking care of it. No, we have to go with an only. That's understood. So until your equate transferred, we are still working with your parents' PIN.
Thank you very much. I think there was a question there.
There's another lady who wants to ask.
May I take the question?
Yes, please.
And then perhaps we can go into a demo of the filing, if that's okay? All right. I think there we'll be able to see options for filing a payment return, filing a nil return, in the various scenarios we've had today. Good morning.
Morning. Yes, Mrs. Maina. I just wanted to ask, now you have said that until the succession is done, you have to work with the PIN which is there.
Yes.
What about if the person died? What happens and the succession is not through?
Okay. So the person is dead and the succession is not through. Now my question is, who's right now in between the property is under whose PIN? So that is what we're going to work with.
It has not changed because the succession is not through and he is not there. He is not alive.
Exactly. So currently we are going to use that PIN that the person is dead. So you can visit any carrier, as long as you have the documents, you can maybe have the, what is this called? The death certificate to show that this person, any person in carrier will be able to file for you to declare the same so that you can pay taxes in between. Because if the succession is not through, correct? Let me see whether I'm understanding this question. The succession has not gone through, but the person's PIN is registered under the property, correct? Yes. Yes. So that's when you have already started the process. Definitely in between, according to the legal I know, there's usually an administrator. So who's the administrator who's under taking charge of that property? Because I believe you go to High Court whereby they appoint an administrator so that they can facilitate succession. We know who are the beneficiaries. So with that documentation, that's when we can help in pertaining to declaring the returns, still paying and then getting. Have I understood the question correctly?
Now, what I'm asking myself is this.
Yes, please.
You know, your people came and they told me that now, I told them that my husband died.
Yes.
Now, what they told me is that I'm the one to take over, and they wrote my name.
Yes.
But the succession is not yet through.
Okay.
Then I was confused.
So they wrote your name?
Yes, they wrote my name, but the succession is not through.
And you're the sole beneficiary?
I'm not the sole beneficiary because I've got children.
Yes. So I'm thinking in that case, maybe you can come see us, we see the PIN, and then we can get in touch with that account manager so that we understand, yes, it's you. But in case anything goes, okay, we don't pray for the worst, but we always prepare. On what grounds have they said? Maybe as a wife, was it under your PIN or under your husband's PIN?
It was under my husband's PIN.
Exactly.
And it is not, the succession is not over.
Exactly.
And then your people came and told me that they are going round and they are writing the people who are there.
Yes.
Yes.
And now the taxes, who declares? Is it you or still under the same,
your
husband's
they told
PIN?
Me. In fact, even it's your people who called me, who sent me an email later, telling me they understand I have got property, but I don't declare.
Okay.
But you know, some things are confusing. You even don't understand which way, which direction.
Yes. Okay. I think in such a case, your case, Mrs. Maina, is very specific. Maybe you can visit so that we can also coordinate with our own so that we can actually understand. But the bottom line, as a Kenya Revenue Authority, we are required by the law, we go with the official documentation, not basically what I say. You know, like in Kenya, without an ID, we can't really know. So ideally, the bottom line is, according to Kenya Revenue Authority, we always go with the legal documentation according to different government, like Ministry of Land or court. So that is what usually governs us. But for your case, it's very specific. You can come and then we can coordinate with our own so that we can actually understand. And then we see the best way forward. We are here to make life simple. You know, most people usually fear it, but we are here to make it simple. Knowledge is power. That's why we are even having this training session. Once you have this knowledge, maisha inakuwa tu rahisi sana. Hata amfuatiliani na watu cartel to make it hard ama KRA. Everything is very simple as long as you actually know.
Asante sana, Irene. The last two questions. I'm so glad everyone essentially has engaged with us today.
Yes,
it's always a privilege,
Mm-hmm.
indeed. And then we'll go into a demo. Good morning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my name is John.
John.
Just a follow-up on what we've been discussing on a deceased taxpayer.
Mm.
Then, in the meantime, because he was declaring now and he is deceased and the rent is being collected by another person, what should be done in the meantime? Because now succession in Kenya is not a one-day thing. It can take even years. So in the meantime, what should be done? Because I think that is where the gap is. What should be done? Because now it means tenants will still be paying your rent, and they will pay because they know I am the spouse, so automatically I'll be receiving rent. Yes, but in the meantime, on tax, because everyone wants to be responsible and compliant on tax issues. In the meantime, what should be done? I think that is the guidance that will be required. Another thing is on if you are paying rent on gross. What if you have debts on rent? What should be done in that scenario?
The last one, Irene?
Yes, please.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, good morning. My name is James Okombo. I also happen to have the same problem with my friend. Last time when I was going to file my returns, after filing, it came out successful. Then after about a day, I got an email that tells me that informs me that I am a defaulter in paying rent income between January 1st, 23 and 31st January 23. And it was due by 20th. And after 10 days, it will attract a penalty of 2,000. That's what I have. Then I was like, I filed for 2022. I don't have any rent. I don't own any rent at all. I don't have a business. I'm just a Juakali man. Then after a while, yesterday, I got another email inviting me for the training. So I said, good, let me go and find for myself what exactly is happening. Now, from your answer, I got that Kenya Power can also help us to prove whether I own houses. I'm a tenant of somebody, I pay using his name. So I don't know. You will help me go through it, because I'm afraid if it goes like this, then with my ears, I'll be disappointed in Kenya.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for coming. It's always good to be informed and empowered.
Yes,
Irene, I'll allow you to tackle those two questions, and then I'll place the demo, and then we can move into integrity.
Good. Okay. As I've said, I always start with the last. So, Mr. Akombo, I think yours is technical with the email. I would prefer to see what the email states. You get, yes, and then we get to know the PIN. I have to say that at times errors happen. You know that you can send messages, even M-Pesa. Back then, unaweza tuma number, pengine unafikiri umeandika 3 na umeandika 4. It goes to a different person. So there's also a possibility maybe the email was sent erroneously. That can also be a possibility, like a mass email. But I believe with the system, you can't file for 2 months. And that's what I also tell people. If you've appointed like an accountant, ama mtu wa cyber, hakikisha, yes, you have gotten the slip, but also you get an email notification. It's also good kujua. Because unaenda unafanya cyber na kutengenezea vitu, while in actual sense you have not filed. But now that's the beautiful thing of automation. Once you file, definitely you're going to get an email notification, which shows the same. So if you have filed for a period of January 2023, there is no way the system will tell you to file at the same time. And in case it happens, what does that mean? That's a system error. That's now when you come to us, and then we escalate our issue to the ICT. Basically, that's that. So I believe that I've answered your question. And then I think I'm feeling I've forgotten someone else. That is John, correct? The deceased. So yes, succession definitely takes time. But between the death of the person and succession, what happens? Si kuna kwanga na administrator most of the time. But until then, as KRA, we will require you to continue filing under the deceased person. Until now, property is definitely transferred correctly. Either that or for you guys to have an administrator. The bottom line is we will not go with what you say ama what I say. Ati hii property ilikuwa ya baba yangu na sasa ndio hivyo. So unajua kuna vitu saa zingine unaona watu wengine wanatokea wanalilia nasema this is this. So for KRA we avoid getting in between those wrangles. So we usually need a legal official documentation. So kama mtu amekufa in between, mnaweza visit any of our KRA offices useme by the way, this property was belonging to XYZ, this person is no longer there, and this is a death certificate to show that we want, as long as you're receiving money, and then you're showing you're actually unalipa ushuru. Sidhani kama mtu yoyote wa KRA atakuja kusumbue, regardless of whichever pin you use. And as long as pia unaweka documents vizuri, unajua. So basically that's that. The bottom line ni, hakikisha kila kitu imekuwa registered with the legal offices za serikali kama ni Ministry of Land ama Kenya Power. That one you'll definitely be safe. I think kwa hayo machache tumemaliza. Oh yes, there is now the actual filing. Okay, so Mandy. So this is iTax, very simple, as unaona. So ukilog in, definitely this shows that we have logged in. Tunakuja hapa kwa returns. Si tuko sawa? Step by step. Sasa tukikuja hapo kwa returns, yes. So returns. Tuseme hiyo mwezi you did not have any rent, you did not have any tenants. Sindio kina Gibson, your time amna tenants, ama Madam Elizabeth, you come up and file nil return. So may click. And now this is a personal PIN, A00. You come here and say tax obligation, rental income. Are we there? Until, step by step. There's, let me see if I remember the name. Okay, I've forgotten the name, but the guy, the person who was added erroneously. Bottom line ni, awezi ongezewa rental kama au kuklik hii. Sasa ukisema uliongezewa rental by mistake, inamaanisha kuna mtu akakuja ka click this. Because the machine does not actually know. So once you have rental income, you click there, and then you do next. Once you do next, so we will say, okay, yeah, this one, maybe say 2021. And this is the monthly one. You see, once you do return period from, the system automatically picks the end date because it's usually monthly. And then from there you say submit. And then do you want? You say okay. I think the system, it's a bit slow. But once you say submit, definitely they have, okay, unless there's a system problem, definitely you have to receive an acknowledgement receipt. It's that acknowledgement receipt that verifies ndio hiyo imefika. We don't want survey, you come and click this. So this is enough proof to show that you have actually filed returns. Na hii hata unaweza eka, you know, these days it's online. So you put this, in case any of us comes, you can show you have actually filed. But now if you give a cyber person, saa zingine wanatengenezanga e-return, you know, using Word. So it's always good to be very cautious. So that is nil return. Now the other one, we come and file return. So this is when you have, let's say, like 5 units you've occupied. You come and click that. Tuko sawa hadi hapo? So in case of anything or I've left, you can always ask. So this you've already chosen, the return period, return from, it's still the same, let's say Feb. As you've seen, hapo mbeleni tulikuwa tumefile January. Unaona system yenyewe imekuja imejichoose Feb. So there's no way the system will choose the same period you filed. So that is section A. Tunakuja hadi section B. Total rental income, number of property. Tutachukua hizi namba za property. Gibson uko na namba nini ngapi? 20. Tuandike hapa 20. Oops, nakuanea 20. So 20. Alafu for each you do how many? Una charge pesa ngapi? Or around, see exact 10. Aya, so 20 to 720 times 10,000. Hiyo inakuza pesa ngapi? 200. So tunakuza tunaandika hapo 200. Hiyo ni 200. Unajua watu wengine kama sisi wa macho nne. It's thank you. Sinaona ndio maana tunavaa macho nne and you're still not seeing. As you can see, maisha imekuwa rahisi. Hakuna maneno mingi. Unakuja tu unaweka details zako, the system actually calculates for you. I think hapa kuna shida ya network. Once you do that, wacha ini pole pole. Once you do that, the system actually with the rate does all that and then sindo hiyo. Or I'm seeing my own things. Yeah? Exactly. Once you do that, what do? We submit. Once you do submit, you say, okay. Okay. Yeah, it's still submitting. So number one, what do? We declare the returns. This is what I was saying, self-declaration. Once it goes through, it will also bring the acknowledgement receipt. And then now tunaenda payments. I think I'm too fast for the system, or the system is just too slow, yeah? But now, once it goes through, we will go to payment, and then we generate a payment slip. Hii ni kitu nafanya kwa nyumba tu, kikunywa chai, ama kwa wala watu wanaenda bar. You can still do it there, ama hata kwa matatu. It's very simple. Very, very, very simple. So let's just continue waiting. But once it's submit, we will come to payments. Alafu unakuza unasema payment registration. And then the slip will appear, and then you can even pay via M-Pesa. I think that's that for now. So we have dealt with nil returns, and then in case you have any properties. Now, hapa kama properties ni 0, just the same Excel. Number of properties, I have 20, correct? How many tenants were there? I write 0. So basically it means the tax paid, it's 0. The most important thing is always declare. Declaration ni muhimu sana. Yes, this is system problems, but I hope tumepata the drift of it. And in case for further, we can always visit any of our town offices. Swali? Yes. Maybe we can do afters, but yes.
We have a team that's listening in.
Okay. Yes. So firstly, you have to register the property first on the system, right?
Yes.
Because that's what it says in here. It says how to register a property.
Yes.
Right? So when you do register the property and you're saying here that the PIN number must match, does that mean under the Ministry of Lands and Title that PIN must be allocated already?
Yes.
Okay.
If I've gotten
but
correct.
let's say there's a new property, so I've just bought a new development, it's just come up, nothing's been...
rental while the property is not registered.
Yeah, so I was told by my lawyers and stuff, it's just started. It's just been 1 month now. They've just paid 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we've been told that so we have all the sale agreement, everything from the Ministry of Lands, but you don't have the sectional title yet.
So whose property is it?
It's under my name.
Exactly. So we will work with that. Comes and question. You can present the documentation. That is what we'll work with. So we'll work with your PIN.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
The second thing is it always the first of the month?
Pardon?
Because the time period there was the first of the month to the end of the month.
I'm not getting... Yes, it's a monthly thing. So you can either do from 2nd of...
Yeah, but I'm saying if I'm filing for June, before June 20 or May,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
And for that, I put the period of the 1st of May to the 31st,
Yes.
or I put it from whichever start date that the lease is.
Exactly, because even the system will guide you. So if it's a monthly thing, it has to... Non-resident. Yes, I think we can talk. Yes, we'll definitely be around.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Sorry about that. A lot of questions.
No problem. We want everybody to feel.
Are we going to again file the normal income tax annually like we usually do at the end of the year? Like
January, and now this one every single month.
Excuse, yeah, on the issue of Elizabeth, I think what she's saying is about maybe you are filing on a monthly rent.
Totally. But if, like me, I have rentals, maybe 20 units, but I still also have my own PIN. I have to also declare the income resident. So if you're doing monthly, that is correct. But as a resident, you also need to declare your own, if it's nil. Yes, but not for whatever he has said, not the annual regime. Basic shamba pale, uko na nyumba ingine, pengine umeajiriwa kwingine. You see, so those are totally different incomes. You can't say the fact that I have employment income and I'm declaring rental income, sasa na declare rental income, sita declare hii ingine. No, those are totally different. That's okay. Exactly, definitely. Yes, there are no connections.
Can I just give a specific example on that? Okay, so I collect 100,000 shillings per month on rental income.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm paying 10,000 shillings a month in tax, right, on this voluntary system. Okay.
Yes.
Now I've got costs with that. I've got whatever, else with that. So let's say I make out of that remaining 90,000. Let's say I make 50,000 per month. Okay. So over the course of that year, 50,000 times 12 is 600,000 shillings.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So then at my end of year filing as a individual resident, am I then filing 600,000 shillings of income and then taxed another 30% on that?
So
you see what I mean there? I profited off I paid the tax for the property. I profited off that property. That's an income. And then I'm then taxed again at the end of the year for that amount? Because that should be the final tax, right? Because I think that's...
The bottom line, as I've said, and I'll still emphasize, we are governed nothing but the law. So first case, are you under the annual regime or the monthly rental income? That is your rental income, correct? So maybe you have other residents or other income, like business, and that is under your personal PIN. You'll also come and declare under the same. I don't want us to mix everything. Every single income is, yes, because it's under the monthly.
So basically, if my entire income is rental based, then I just pay the M.R.I.
Exactly, and
that's right.
of which you also declare it in the system. So even if I'm to come and say, how come you're doing nil return? I'm like, I'm doing nil return because this is and this. As I've told you, every single person here with a PIN, there's something I'm not getting. With your account manager, they'll sit down, they analyze those returns, and then they advise you. Because if your rental income is more than 15 million, definitely you cannot be in the monthly regime. You have to. That's okay. So this is just the overall structure. Lakini vitu zikikuwa ngumu zaidi ama zikihitaji, you now go to a specialist. Ni kama tu daktari, hospitali. You go, you get treated, maybe headache, and then more headache, keep on insisting, then you go and see a specialist. For the taxes, you also go see an account manager, and then we'll analyze those returns, and then we go step by step. See your PIN, and then we see the returns, we see the collection. From there, we'll give a specific advice.
Excellent. Irene, we were able to get the system back. This is a payment showing 20,000 due.
Okay,
perhaps you can just quickly take them through now.
The payments.
Is this tax due? Or it says
Ilikuwa nil.
So
Okay, receipt 9. Or I think should be this.
Good.
So finally, do here the return. So now, once you have filed the return, you need to pay. You don't even have to go to the bank and pay these days. Everything is in the system. So we come to payments. We do payment registration. We do next. You see the things definitely select, and then we do OK. there, and then you come here. Income tax, because rental income is an example, is part and parcel of income tax. You come and choose, and then we come and choose self-assessment, as I've said. And then now you come, naona ndio hiyo imetokea automatically. I'm telling you. And then there it is, and then mode of payment. We come and do other modes, and then we say submit. And then we say okay. As there it is, and then we come and click. No, we don't want survey. Hope you can see the M payment. Okay, bet it's a bit slow, but it's small, but there we have the M payment. You can see the pay bill, 572, and then the account number. So, and your M-Pesa, that the money has been credited from your M-Pesa to that, and then the account number, and then the amount. And the account number is never the same. For every single payment registration, account numbers. But the one thing that will remain constant is the business number, the pay bill number. That's okay, and then the amount should be that. And again, you can use the M-Pay. Printi karatasi unapelekea hizi banks. Unaona banks zote watakubali, alafu they'll accept the payment, and then they'll give you a receipt. The beautiful thing is, once you do this, if you go to your iTax profile, itakuonyesha ya kwamba umelipa once you have paid. And that is usually under my general ledger. It will come and show you. Ama if you have sent somebody to pay and they have told you amelipa, it's always good to also come and check for yourself. Okay, we had not paid, but once you pay, you'll definitely come and check at the general ledger. It's usually updated in real time. So kilipa sahi, inatokea tu sahi, unless we have system problems. I think that's it, Mandy, from my end. Unless kuna nini.
One last question.
Yes, Mr. Karanja. Mm. So, ni muhimu by the way, it's very important. As much as unapatia mtu mwingine akufailie, also you know. Hii ni Kenya, hivyo ndo kila mtu anasema. So, I don't know, I start from returns. So, returns, kama ni nil return, we know. So, na click to hapo, nil return. I think these days everybody has a smartphone. You can even use a smartphone. So, you come and choose rental income. Alafu unafanya next. So you see, the system even automatically selects. Tulikuwa tumefanya January, Feb, saizi tuko March. Nakubali. So you say submit. Ndio hiyo, kazi tu ni kufinya, kubonyeza, next. So you see this one has gone through. Once it has gone through, unaona, this is the return receipt. So this is for the period of March, which is nil. Nil also belongs to what the time your units did not have any hesabu kwa akili. It's also good to write down, useme hii mwezi nilikuwa na hawa. And I think also it's very good. At least ukianza kuulizwa who are your tenants. Tuna file nil return, file return. Tunakuja kwa returns, file return. And then now next ni apparent income. Alafu next. So hii hapo ende number 11, hapana kila mwezi. So the thing is, ukiruka mwezi moja hapo ndo unakuta unapatwa na penalties. So it's advisable every 20th. So from there we go to section B. Section B times 20 unapata ni 40,000. Let's just say that. Sindio? 4000. I think that's 40,000. So that's it. No, unafinya tuko kwingine, system ina calculate. Hakuna maneno ya calculator hapa. And then what do? We say submit. Sindio hiyo? Okay. So from there, we wait for it to be submitted. And it's also ndio hiyo imetokea. Once it does that, we don't want, and then you download that. Na hizi vitu zote unafanya, if you check your email, ndio maana ni muhimu kuhakikisha email zako zote ziko up to date in the system. Because hizi you're going to get an email notification, an automatic email notification. So if a cyber person tells you amefanya and you have not received an email notification, it's always advisable to ask why. Unajua ni mtu anakuambia ati amekutumia pesa kwa simu but you have not received message. So utamwamini, it's always advisable. this number 12. So this is a return that we have declared, that is 4,000. Tuko hadi hapo. So inamaanisha the. So we come to the system, and then we do what? We do payments. Payment, we do payment registration. And then we do next. And then we say, okay. It's not a inatokea. As long as your return is okay, easy information ingine like payment, it actually gets from the system. So always ensure, as I was telling you, self-declaration is very important. So always ensure you declare the correct things and the system will collect. So hapa tuko kwa tax head, tunakuja tunasema income tax. Income tax ndio tunachukua. Alafu hapa tax subhead, tunachagua rent income. Because that's what we are declaring. And then payment, hapa ni self-assessment. That is okay. Naona ndio hiyo yenyewe imejichagulia. So that is April 2021. You come and click that. Okay, the penalties and interest is because of the time period. Tumechagua hiyo 2021. But as long as you're up to date, utapata easy interest na penalties. So we come and choose April, the month you want to pay, and then we say add. We say okay. Alafu naenda hadi chini, you go there and then now submit. The amount to be paid that. Alafu mode of payment, we say other payments. RTGS ni zile za bank, direct to direct. So the and then we say okay. It's still. Once you say okay, what next? We don't want to do survey, we do. They download the payment registration slip. There we go. And then you, there. And all the details are there. As easy as sending money via M-Pesa. I don't know whether that's easy, but yeah. Now those are the details. So unaona hapo kuna M-payment, ndio hiyo pay bill kwa nyumba yako na ndio hiyo account number. And then now either that or
as
simple as possible.
4. Allow me to let you know that we do have another form of payment. It's called M-Service. You can download this app. That's non-iOS. So if you have an Android, essentially, you're more than welcome to utilize M-Service. It's similar process. Actually, most people prefer M-Service. It's a mobile application. You download it from the App Store. Great. It's only that I can't connect my phone. Actually, my phone is not applicable, but it's only that I can't connect my phone to the screen. But this is essentially how it is. Another step-by-step method. It's an app. Please, asante sana Irene. Simple, swift, and efficient. It's also one of our efforts to ensure that filing is easy and payment is easy. Remember, those are two separate processes. So M-Service, as you can see, you log in. It'll ask you for basic details. You know your main KRA identifier is your PIN. But it'll ask you for your ID, your date of birth should auto-populate, email address, and phone number. Would you like to register for turnover tax obligation? You'll select no, unless that's what you're coming to do. Note that you can do M.R.I and TOT, which is turnover tax, on M-Service. It's a simplified method. And you can do several other things on the app as well. You can get your TCC. You can make general inquiries. You can confirm if the person who has come to you is a real KRA officer. If after you want to try and test it out, you'll take my ID number and you'll receive a text message. All my names, and the fact that I am a full employee of the authority, if ever you're in that challenge. And it's not just related to the domestic taxes. Important information on customs-related matters. Are you importing something? Are you trying to understand the rates that's being used on that day in case you're doing a transaction like that? So that's M-Service. It'll ask you the similar processes. Once you select you do want to file a tax return over here, it will ask you, okay, which period do you want to declare for? You select May. It's June now. You have between 1st and 20th of June to file the returns related to the income earned in May. It'll auto-populate the period you saw. And what my colleague might have failed to mention, which I also didn't let her know, is the PIN I picked was clearly a non-compliant PIN, a PIN that has not filed since January 2021. I wish we would have taken one of your PINs. If you haven't filed already, it would have automatically shown us that the next time to file is May. I assume most of us here were registered in the month of May and therefore are required to declare and pay the following month, 20 days in the first 20 days of the following month. So that's M-Service for you. It's another option we have to ensure that the services we offer are efficient and effective. Indeed, it seems like that's the one you're leaning towards, Mr. Karanja. Let's do it after with you together, and anyone else who is interested. So long as you have data, log in on your phone, and we can do it together. So long as you know the rentals you have and the amount you earned the previous month. You can also file a nil rental income obligation on M-Service if that's what you wish to do, if that's what you wish to declare, so long as you did not earn for that period. So very quickly, we are almost done. It's 12:30. We are approaching the end of our presentation, and we'll then proceed to sit out with you to take tea and answer any additional questions you have. Any seek all things M.R.I, but also any other tax challenges you might have. Perhaps you don't know your TSO. Are you based in north of Nairobi, which is in this building? Are you based in Samia, which is where me and Madam May sit? Are you based in west of Nairobi? But yeah, we are mandated to train you on what your rights and your obligations are, and where you can channel any complaints or corruption-related matters that you may wish to share with the authority. As you can see, many of our efforts over the years to strengthen integrity are, as you can see there, we've endeavored to automate several of our functions. So majority, if not all, KRA applications, requests, trackings can all be done from the comfort of your desk. iTax, as you saw, had several tabs which you can apply for TCCs, you can apply for a refund, you can view a previous return that you filed. So for example, if a KRA officer says, no, you filed in May this and this amount, you can go and say, no, look, I filed a nil return, and this is the evidence. Everything, your records related is on iTax, and that's again an opportunity for us to ensure that you have access to your information, that you're not only informed but also empowered. So ICMS for customs, the electronic cargo tracking system, among others. Allow me to highlight one of our key documents. It's called the Taxpayer Service Charter. It's only 32 pages. It's available on our website. A beautiful summarized document on what your rights and your obligations are. Your rights, which include the right to information, the right to courtesy, the right to a refund if you're in a refund position, the right to a relief if you're a resident, the right to several other rights you have. Obligations include the obligation to file and pay the correct amount of tax due, the obligation to register for the correct obligation. So if you have a rental, you are required to have M.R.I if you fall within the threshold. And we should mention that we are in the season of budgets and finance acts. It's possible that the rates of M.R.I might change as early as next month if the finance bill passes as is. Therefore, stay informed, but the system will automatically pick that as well. So if you forget, for example, the system will automatically pick if the rate changes from 10%, as you know, is being suggested. I think it's being suggested to 7.5%, but the threshold is also expanding. So stay tuned, stay informed. We're also waiting to hear what becomes of the finance bill 2023. Over the years, we've also established a department known as Intelligence and Strategic Operations. They oversee all things integrity related to KRA. They're based in this building. We also have the training of taxpayers and the general public on integrity. So we endeavor to incorporate matters on integrity in all our in-person and virtual trainings to ensure that you're not only informed, but also empowered. We also have the strict enforcement of our KRA Code of Conduct, which governs the way KRA officers should conduct themselves. And we also have a number of robust anti-corruption gift and whistleblower policies, with one such example being the informer reward system. So over the years, we're also growing reliant on third-party sources of information. You are our taxpayers who are on the ground, who know how things are being done by your fellow business owners, by your fellow rental income earners. And you're in a position, if you're in a position to share that information with us, any relevant information that would go towards making a strong tax investigation and subsequently recovering lost tax revenue, you may be in a position for KRA to pay you 5% of the taxes recovered from that relevant information that you brought forward, up to a maximum of 5 million shillings. It's important to note that that maximum was recently raised from 2 million to 5 million to incentivize anyone with relevant information to bring it forward for the purpose of recovery of lost tax revenue and ultimately nation building. On your screen are a number of reporting channels. If you have a complaint, if you have a corruption report, don't suffer in silence. Inform the authority. You can do so with the email address on your screen, cic@kra.go.ke, stands for Complaints and Information Center. If you have a application, for example, that has overstayed, if you know the timelines, which is available on the document I mentioned earlier, the Taxpayer Service Charter, and now you know it's been beyond 5 days, for example, inform cic@kra.go.ke, and they'll be able to escalate that task of yours or the application you made to the relevant team. Corruption reporting at kra.go.ke. If you have a corruption report you wish to make on all things KRA, not just the Domestic Taxes Department. You might be facing a challenge with the customs, with the school we have in Westlands and Mombasa. Feel free to notify corruption reporting at kra.go.ke. But if you'd like to make an in-person report, we have an office in this building on the 26th floor, dedicated corruption reporting office. You'll be received by officers who will treat your case with confidentiality, sensitivity, and be able to escalate that internally, pick it up from there and escalate it internally. As I mentioned earlier, we're growing reliant on reliable third-party sources of information. So if you have information regarding your specific tax head, M.R.I, or any other, perhaps you're in business that then mandates you to have VAT, that mandates you to have excise, and you have information you'd be willing to share, let us know, and we'll be able to assist. You can also write directly to the head of the KRA, the Commissioner General, with the address on your screen, or use any of those reporting lines, telephone lines that are manned daily by officers who endeavor to give you feedback, escalate your matter internally, and the like. There's also iWhistle, another web-based anonymous reporting system. So all those channels perhaps required you to reveal who you are. Should you wish to do so anonymously, as you'll be filling out our form without telling us your identity so that we can get honest feedback, you can use iWhistle, iwhistle.kra.go.ke. If you have any information regarding diversion of goods, tax evasion, bribery, fraud, you can utilize iWhistle. You do so without revealing your identity. Then we ask only that you provide any relevant information that would go towards making a strong tax investigation and ultimately recovering lost tax revenue. You can engage with us. We have over 42 DTD officers across the country. We also have several officers based in Huduma centers who can be able to assist you. For example, if you've not filed your return for the year 2022, feel free to go downstairs. I just left there. The line is a bit long, but you'll be assisted to file your return so that you move into the new financial year fully compliant, given June for individuals. Continue to engage with us. The call center is now available daily, Monday to Monday, Sunday to Sunday, in order to ensure that the services we offer during this busy season of filing are adequate, and you're able to access them at all times. They're available, as you can see, daily on the channels on your screen. But we also have extended hours. Starting last weekend, our offices are now open on Saturdays, the TSOs, and several service centers across where we have Huduma centers. They're open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at select service centers. So once again, don't suffer in silence. We look forward to engaging with you throughout your journey as a rental income earner. Feel free to visit us. Madam Mayor, I'm sure we'll mention where we are based, and then from there you'll be able to receive assistance. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mandy. Perhaps you could post our contacts so that for the benefit of taxpayers. As we conclude, a round of applause to our presenters of the day, Irene Dolo and Mandy Mwangi. You've done a very good job. Thank you. What is coming out increasingly seized to the current person, and what I would want to advise is that the system continues to the system knows that the person is still alive and should be filing and paying. So what it does is that it now imposes penalties and interest on any PIN that is not being. Ensure that that doesn't happen. Please see your tax service office. We have some back office operations that can assist you to continue, since the tenants are still there, to continue filing and paying even as the other matters are being handled on the side. I think we are together up to that point, so that you don't have to suffer paying those penalties and interest while there's a help at the TSO level. And for those who have raised up those questions, please see us after this so that we can connect you with your tax service office so that they can assist you to do the necessary and avoid anything that will be coming against you in terms of your obligation. So over and above that, I want to believe that we have gained one or two or even more insights, useful insights, to help us to comply. We have 6 days to go for you to file and pay. Please make sure you file and pay. If you file and you don't pay, that is another problem altogether, because there are penalties and interest for not filing, and then there are penalties and interest for not paying. And our contacts are on the projection, so that for those who have any penalties and interest that are falling between January and this date today, we are giving you that offer so that you can come forward in your tax service office, make that application so that we can allow you to pay 60% and we waive the 40. Isn't that good news? So that you don't pay 100. We are here to facilitate you, or even yourself. You have that penalty or interest that you have not paid for this period that I've mentioned. Please see us also on how to go about it so that you can pay 60, we waive the 40. Okay? So without much ado, I wish to give an appreciation to our team who are at the registration desk, Flora and David, as well. Refresh yourselves. In the event that something was not very clear, you can refresh yourself by viewing the clip. But over and above that, we are going to share material on your email. We are going to share materials on your email to guide you. We'll give you a step-by-step guide on how to file and pay, so that you just make reference to the material and then you do it on whatever gadget you have, be it M-Service, or be it your laptop or any other technological gadget that you have. You can do the needful. Okay? So we don't want to release you without something. We have some refreshments for you so that as you hit the road to go and file and pay, you will be in a position to do so. So we have refreshments. Please, before you leave, at our exit point, we have our table that has been set for you, specifically for you, so that you can have something and then you can go about your other business. So I take this opportunity now to request that please give a round of applause to all the members who have been working with us today to see to it that we have a successful engagement. And then I will make the final prayer and then we can release you. But just know that we are still on the ground. We're not going to disappoint you, facilitating you on whatever queries that you have. So please let us be upstanding as we come to a close of this meeting. For this moment that you have enabled us to start the forum and to end the forum successfully, all to the honor and glory of your name. We pray, Lord, that the information that we have imparted to our taxpayers will be of good use to them, and that they will go to their various areas of operation, and that they will comply, they will file, and they will pay before the due date, and that everything will go well with them as they proceed with this obligation. We pray, Lord, that even as they go about the other business for the day, you will surround them, you'll watch over them, and you'll keep them. And then we pray, Lord, that the refreshments that you're about to receive, we give thanks, and we pray that you bless us for the rest of the day. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Thank you very much. Karibuni sana for the refreshments. And yeah, we are still on the ground. We are here to help you. Thank you.
File and returns.
Atirere, mo file returns shanyusha kare.
Isa file returns. Body. Deadline chiegni.
Najue. No file returns yako.
Wachire kwa file returns chao. Mara wa file cho returns. Ndirenda uririkane ku file niwo tikagie penalty. Ogwo file umundi.
file returns, by the way.
Makansho like file and returns.
Atirere. Mo file returns shenyu shakere.
Is a file returns. Body. Deadline chiegni.
Najue. No file returns yaku.
Watire kwa file returns chao. Mara wa file returns. Ndirenda odidikane ku file ni wotikagie penalty. Ugo file umonde